Hello everybody. Today we'll speak about alternative investment. The last few movies were made in Russian language for our Russian-speaking customers, but today it's a special movie for Middle Eastern customers. And first of all, I'd like to describe what does it mean alternative investments. So we're living in 2016, and it's a very difficult time, because for the last couple of years the price of the oil went down dramatically 4 times, even more. And we remember this fat years, you know, when we lived there with the oil price of $140, $150 a barrel, and then today is below 30. So the most of the wealthy high net worth individuals, they think about how to save money, which kind of financial instrument to invest. And of course, most of the people will think about real estate, you know, the stocks and bonds, and then the price of the real estate almost ruined in Russia and Kazakhstan, you know, and a lot of national currency dropped down dramatically 3 times, 4 times. And the China economy slowed down. American economy is booming because these guys, they just printing money, but everybody know that this is a paper which is not protected by gold or any other assets. And for high net worth individuals, the most important thing today, how to save the capital. We're not even talking about to make a profit, because in most of the banks, we're talking about Switzerland, Germany, Italy, France. Today, you have a very extreme situation when you have a negative interest in the bank. You know, let's say that you put a $10 million, you know, and after 1 year, you have to pay bankers 1%, even more, for their service, you know, of keeping your money, of keeping your capital. So what do we offer? We're jewelers, and you know, our business is mining of Colombian emeralds, Burma rubies, Burma sapphires. You know, we do our business in Madagascar, in Thailand, in Burma, in Afghanistan, in Tajikistan, you know, Zambia, Mozambique. You know, we're searching our gemstones all around the world. And first of all, I'd like to describe what does it mean alternative investments, and how big they should be from the total value of your capital. If somebody tell you that you should invest in alternative assets, let's say 10 or 15%, that's you know, it will shock you. And then for any businessman, it's quite risky. So we calculated more or less a figure which comes between 2 and 3% of your total net worth, and then it's not painful. But sometimes, and I will tell you later about these situations which can happen to you in your life. Sometimes this alternative investment, that's the only capital which you have, basically. So let's talk about any modern businessman. The total wealth of any businessman is equal to 100%. We're talking about the main the main part of the capital is your firm, your company, your business, which have capitalization. It can be a public company, it can be a private company, you know. So these general main business generating the cash flow for you every year. And then it's have a market value. So no matter your company, it's a private or it's a public company, but it's have a market value. So then, of course, you have real estate. You have a house and an apartment in the country where you live. Plus, you have a second house, second home. It could be Dubai. It could be, you know, Cyprus. It could be Miami. You know, most of the time, it's nice resorts where you have a pleasant time with your family, with your children. So there's some of the businessmen that have a lot of the second homes. And I know a lot of Arabs and a lot of Russians have apartments and houses in London, Great Britain, America, New York, Miami, Los Angeles. So there's a pretty lot of places in the world to invest money in real estate. But real estate, it's kind of investment which which is good, you know, when the market is growing. But you know, when the market is flat or market coming down, so you have to pay every year. Let's say in Miami, you know, in some of the areas you pay 2.5% a year from the market value of your apartment. You pay 2.5% taxes. You know, some of my friends they're paying $400,000, $500,000, even $1 million. You know, for the big villas in Miami, where they spend not more than 1 month, 2 months per year. So also, every business person have bank accounts, and the bank accounts, what does it mean? It means that all your money, no matter which currency, dollars, euros, dirhams, you know, Japanese yen, Chinese yuan, whatever, all your money is transparent for everybody. Any financial intelligence, you know, from America, from Russia, from UAE, from all around the world, you know, they can track you, they can see how much money you have in which bank, etc., etc. So there's no secrets. If you keep your money in the bank, there's no secrets for anybody. Also, you have some financial instruments like bonds and stocks, some derivatives, whatever. You can have investment in commercial real estate, which generate you cash flow. You can have investments in different business, which is not linked to your main company. But you know, at the end of the day, we created a formula about alternative investment that it will take only 2-3% of your total wealth. For me, alternative investment is precious stones, it's collectible wines, and it's art. When I'm talking about art, I'm talking about the antique art, you know, impressionist, etc., etc. I'm not talking about contemporary art. Myself, I'm a big collector of contemporary art, but my personal opinion that the liquidity for contemporary art is not so good like for, let's say, the artists of last century or, you know, 19th, 18th century museum pieces. The only problem is that the entry ticket to impression is starting from 50-60 million euros, not less. And so let's talk about the color gemstones, my business, what I understand better in the world. Look, we made a big market research about the price growth of the color gemstones starting from 1913, before the World War I, up to the present days, you know, for the last 100 years. In the beginning of the 20th century, it was only a little bit more than 2 billion people lived in our planet. Then we had a World War II. You know, we had the October Revolution first. You know, we had during the First World War, the three biggest empire crashed, and the world changed forever. We're talking about great British Empire, Russian Empire, and Austrian-Hungarian Empire. So it was a lot of millions of refugees moving from one country to another. So then we had a Hitler and Mussolini. We had a Second World War II, and again during the war, millions of people moving from one country to another. And what does it mean for you and for me, the precious stone? Let's take a ruby, a sapphire, or emerald, or colored diamond. When we're talking colored diamonds, you know, I mostly speak about pink and blue diamonds. The precious stone is the most compact financial instrument in the world, which was created by the Mother Nature, and nothing is more valuable in the world today what can have in the size of your nail a volume of $5, $10, $20 million. You know, if we're talking about pink diamond or blue diamond, color, intense or vivid, we're talking $2, $3 million per carat. So the 5 carat stone might easily cost $15 million. Try to move $15 million from one country to another. Yeah, I can tell you that it's 150 kilos, you know, because the $1 million it's 10 kilos of weight, and it's almost impossible to pass any customs in any airport of any country today. So the precious stones is a very, very compact financial instrument which helping you to move big capitals between countries without declaring it, without paying any special attention, because only you and nobody else know what you have in your pocket. And most of our clients, they're asking me about the liquidity, and they said, Maximilian, if we buy from you a certain amount of stones for 10, 20, 30, 50 million dollars, so then after 5 or 10 years we would like to sell it, and then you switch off your phone and you disappear, what we're gonna do? So I have a very good and simple answer, that we have a Christie's and Sotheby's auction, we have Bonham's, we have a Phillips auction, which making at least 4 auctions per year in London, Geneva, New York, and Hong Kong. So to sell your top quality gem precious stones, you don't need me, because you have auction houses. But everyone have to learn how to invest correct in the colored gemstones. As I said before, in my previous movies, we deal in, you know, the big dealers in the world, the big stone dealers and the jewelers, dealing only with the 5 top gemological laboratories in the world, such as American Gemological Lab, AGL, GIA, Gemological Institute of America. So then the 3 Swiss labs, which is SSEF, Gubelin, and GRS. That's basically the 5 top gemological labs in the world, which certificate accepted by banks, accepted by any jewelry house, and of customers who understand what they're doing. In my particular case, if I see that I have important stone, $300,000, $500,000, $1 million and above, I prefer to have a different alternative opinions. And in this case, we're producing 3 or 4, sometimes even 5 certificates from the different labs. There's a nice marketing instrument made by GIA or AGL. Now also SSCF producing, and Gubelin. It's a nice, fantastic leather books with 100 or 200 pages about this particular stone. So if you're given this important stone to the Geopolitical lab, they made a research, they made a photo shoot of this stone. You can name your stone. You can give a name to your stone, same like you can give a name to your pets. And at the end of the day, investor or customer, he get a product with the 3, 4, 5 different certificates and a couple books. That's the way we pack in this financial instrument for the serious investor. Most of our clients, it's high net individuals with the total wealth starting from $100 million and above. And of course, it's more easy, more convenient to work with the billionaires, because when you have $1, $2, $3 billion assets, the 2% invested in the colored gemstones could be 20, 30, 50, $100 million. This is the most sweetest customers for me. But I want to speak a little bit about the Middle East and what's happening today. You know, which world we're living. Everybody remember that the last 2 years, 3 years, it's hard years of Arabic revolutions. We're talking about Libya and Gaddafi, talk about Algeria, we talk about Egypt. Today we have Syria, and a few years ago it was Iraq and Afghanistan. And look, in all these countries, it was hundreds and thousands of businessmen. When we turn on a TV today and we watching news, we see millions of refugees attacking Europe. They move into Germany, France, Italy, Russia, you know. And in this news you see only poor refugees. But let's talk about rich refugees. Where do they go? First of all, that the all wealthy families live in the country, you know, first in the line. When something happening, you know, these guys have a private jets, they have a boats, you know, they have any different possibilities to escape with the family, with the children, with the parents. So the rich refugees, they come into the place like Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Sharjah, Saudi Arabia, whatever. But remember, if you was a minister or a big businessman, you know, linked to the government of Iraq or Syria or Libya, what do you think? The Swiss bankers or American bankers or British bankers, they're gonna give you opportunity to use your money which you placed in the bank account in Geneva when you was in power and you were coming to Geneva, and all these Swiss bankers, they were kissing your hands, you know, taking you for lunches and nightclubs and so on and so forth. Of course not, you know. Bankers, they do a professional robbery. That's what I'm saying. And I know what I'm talking about. I saw hundreds of cases with the people who escaped from the, all these Arabian revolutions. And my ex-customers, they were coming to me, knocking to my door, calling to my mobile phone and said, Max, we have these rings, earrings, necklaces, we need a cash money. So remember, jewelry, no matter which brand, it's a MaximiliaN, Graf, Cartier, Herr Winston, Van Cleef & Arpels, Chopard, Chaumet, no matter which brand, whatever it's engraved inside, whatever it's written on the box. When you need to escape from the country, the jewelry, that's the most compact financial instrument which you can put in your pocket, and run away. I remember the revolution of 1917 in Russia, where all big aristocrats, all these big families, with the children, with the parents, they were trying to escape from the communism regime, from the revolution, and in that days it was no airplanes, which you can use to fly out of the country. It was only trains or ships. Most of the fantastic, rich, old, powerful families, they escape only with their dress and with the jewelry in their pockets. That's it. Gold and platinum is a good financial instrument, but it's heavy. How many kilos of gold you can take with you? If you sell it in another country for another currency, how much money you'll sell it for? So that's why, again, the colored gemstones is the most compact, most solid, valuable asset, which can be converted in any country in the world in a different currency. Which also in time of financial crises, world financial crisis, it's protecting your capital from devaluation of the national currency and from any financial collapse, catastrophe. Because no matter which money we're going to have tomorrow in Europe, it's going to be euro, it's going to be back to the Deutsche Mark or French francs or Italian lira, or no matter what's going to happen with the Russian ruble tomorrow or American dollar. But in any country with any regime, you can always convert your diamonds and the colored gemstones into the hard currency, into the real assets. Look, the best example I'm giving for people from Middle East, just to think about your future, about your tomorrow days. It's the big Islamic revolution in Iran in 1970s. When the Shah of Iran, Pahlavi, gone from the country. In that days, he was one of the powerful, one of the richest men in the world, because the Microsoft and Google, and Uber did not exist in these days, So the Shah was one of the most powerful person, and his wife, she was the biggest customer of Cartier, of the Place Vendôme in Paris. Cartier, Van Cleef, Boucheron, Chaumet, all these big jewelry houses. So basically, when Ayatollah Khomeini came with his Islamic revolution, and then the Shah, he left out of country to America. What do you think? He used all his billions on the bank accounts in London, in America, and in Switzerland? Of course not. The only things which you can hold and take with you when you run out of your country from any revolution, from any ISIS, whatever they call it today, Al-Qaeda, you know. The only thing what you can take with you is your jewelry and your stones. Because you can't take with you your Ferraris and Bentleys and Rolls-Royce, your big villas, and even the paintings on your wall. It's very hard to roll and take it with you in another country. So we offer to our client a very special financial instrument. We're selling them packages of the stones for the wholesale price. It's nothing linked to the retail price in the boutiques, which have a markup of 400, 500, 600, 1000%. I don't want to mention the names, the big names, who is first of all my competitors, and second, they also my clients, because you know, these guys, they can be angry on me, but we should say the truth that today the world has changed. You know, it's not anymore fat years like in 2003, 2005, 2007. You know, the oil is less than $30. So technology is moving so fast. You know, we come into the world of the high tech, like, you know, Tesla and Uber, you know, and all these things. And it's not anymore fashionable, you know, to have a big boat and to have your private jets. And, you know, the electrical batteries can drive you from tomorrow up to 1,000 kilometers and more. And demand for the oil is decreasing year by year. There's more and more cars using electrical engines or hybrid engines. And nobody knows, you know, I'm not an economical advisor, you know, and I'm not a correspondent from the Bloomberg, so I cannot really, I have my own vision, you know, and my vision can be completely different to the vision of the global big economist, which you're talking on these big economical forum in Switzerland, you know, or any other countries. But I can talk only about the instruments which I understand and which I'm dealing every day with. So personally for myself, colored gemstones is my pension fund, because I don't believe to any insurance companies, pension funds, you know, you're giving them money in any currency, and then devaluation and inflation and whatever is happening, you know, after 10, 15, 20, 30 years, when you give them money, you know, and the end of this period, you get nothing. I'm talking with you about tangible assets. The only assets what you can hold in your hands. You have your personal key from your safe deposit box here in Dubai, or in Monte Carlo, or in Hong Kong, or in Singapore, you know. The small, private, quiet, banks where nobody knows except you, your family, your wife, your parents, your children. And every year, you guys making money from your main business, and then you invest 2, 3, maybe 5% into the real tangible assets, colored gemstones.